airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Catch made. Touchdown, Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Ducks athletics.
The first scrimmage of the fall for the Ducks as camp continues, building toward that Portland State opener in a few weeks. The Ducks in Autzen Stadium on Saturday. Dan Lanning had some comments right afterwards. We have that for you coming up. Some of my thoughts, a watch list for Brandon Dorlus, also Carlos Locklyn, Troy Franklin, and Kamari Terrell, talking with the running back coach for the Ducks, wide receiver, and a defensive back. We'll go through all of that on the show today. And officially, the Oregon athletics season began this weekend with Graeme Abel's Oregon soccer team in action in a friendly against Idaho. His breakdown with us on the show. He joins us every Monday, Coach Abel does. We have that for you on the program today as well. What else is happening? It's time to break down the preseason poll. That's right. We always have a preseason poll. It really just gives something for people like me to talk about. Georgia is number 1. Michigan is number 2. Ohio State 3. Alabama 4. LSU rounds out the top 5. First Pac-12 team is USC. Then Penn State is 7, Florida State, Clemson, Washington at 10, Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Utah 14, Oregon 15, Kansas State 16, TCU, then Oregon State 18, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, North Carolina, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Tulane at 24, and Iowa at number 25. There's your AP Top 25, the preseason poll. Now, that will not be what the poll is at the end of the year. It probably won't even be what the poll is in like 3 weeks. But it does give you an idea of expectations. And I always think it's interesting when you hear people talk about the preseason poll and it's debated. And sure, do that. But it's also a measure of expectation. And the reason that I sort of said Tulane loudly there, right? Well, Tulane's one that you kind of raise your eyebrows. Like, that's not a program that's always got the expectations to have a big season when they're in the top 25. You know, that's a good thing. Now, for Oregon, you want to always be in the top 25 at any point in the season. You expect to be in the preseason top 25 because it's a measure of what you did last year. It's a measure, in some ways, of what pundits think of your recruiting class, which was very good for the Ducks in the offseason. And I really do think that it's an expectation based on the reputation of your program. You want to show up in the preseason poll. If you're not showing up in the preseason poll, if you don't care about the preseason poll, well, I think that says something about the expectations of your program. It should just be normal that you show up in that preseason poll. Ducks at number 15, hopefully moving up in that poll a little bit. But that's how I feel about preseason polls. I don't like when people say that, they don't matter. I think they do. I think that it measures the reputation of your program more than anything else. I'm a fan. Now, scrimmage-wise, you probably saw the Quack Minute if you're a daily consumer of Oregon content. Rob and I did the Quack Minute, and Coach Lanning did say often, as you'll hear in a moment, that he needs to look at the film, needs to break it down. But right off the practice field is where we talked to Coach Lanning. And a couple things. One, I've seen some comments from folks, and I've even gotten a couple notes from folks about, hey, how come the scrimmages aren't open to the public? And how come we don't hear a lot of individuals and names that perform well in the scrimmage? Well, I understand that from a fan's perspective, that you want to know what's going on. And it's kind of a running joke, at least, that we have in the office of like, yeah, it's Duck Insider, but, you know, I'm not going to tell you everything that happened in the scrimmage either. And the reason for that is because Coach Lanning wants to maintain competition within practice. I know that might not make people very happy, as you want to know what's going on, and I totally get that. I'm that way too. I want to know what's going on. But the truth is that sometimes it's a competitive disadvantage to overshare that information, and I think that's part one. Part two is that internally, Coach Lanning wants to continue competition, and so as you'll hear, he's not going to jump to conclusions before breaking down the film. Now, Coach Lanning will meet with the media again coming up tomorrow afternoon following practice. So we'll have that interview for you on the show Wednesday, and I imagine much more of a detailed breakdown following the film review. That's what the coaches are doing right after a scrimmage like this. Right off the field, Coach Lanning talking with all of us about what he saw inside Autzen Stadium on Saturday.
All right, a lot of back and forth today. I think offense came out early and really had a lot of success early with the defense. You know, today we did some live tackling, some stuff to the ground. I think that's a shocker to people at first, and our guys were running really hard early and had some early scores. I'd say in the second half of the scrimmage, the defense really came back situationally and performed a lot better in 2-minute and third down red areas. So it was a little bit back and forth. Plenty of stuff to clean up. Got to see a lot of reps. Got to go back and watch the film to see really what we have as far as the guys that participated today.
You said going in you were hoping to see play fast, play efficient offensively. Did they kind of live up to that?
You know, I don't know if it was consistent enough at the level that we want. You know, we have really high expectations for what we want. At times we were really, really good, and at times we weren't. So we got to be more consistent.
Pre-snap, operationally, did you feel like you saw a little bit of what you were hoping to today?
Well, at times on both sides of the ball, yes, and then at times definitely not. You know, there were times we weren't lined up properly. There were times that we didn't execute properly. It has a little bit to do with who's in on both sides of the ball. But also has a little bit to do with us having a sense of urgency in the way we prepare.
Both sides were emphasizing takeaways, turnovers.
Yeah, there were some takeaways today. I think there were three interceptions overall. Had a fumble down in the red area that was critical. So we got to do a better job taking care of the ball on offense. Certainly attacked it at times on defense.
Offense had some explosive plays, though, if you're talking about them scoring.
They did early on. Yeah, they did early on. Like I said, they came out and they scored pretty much with ease. We didn't punt early on in the scrimmage. You know, we were trying to actually have some punts, and we didn't punt because we didn't stop them. But then on the back end, like I said, defense kind of came back.
How was the punting overall today?
I have to go look at it. I mean, it looked like it was good at the time, but I have to go look. I know we had one sky punt situation, and we didn't get it inside the 10, so need to go back and visit those.
Did you guys do live returns? Or?
So the tag on the returner.
How was the center quarterback exchanges today, both shotgun and under center, if you did any under center?
Yeah, no issues. A couple errant snaps, but nothing crazy.
This week we're expecting temperatures up in the triple digits. How do you balance the desire to get your players used to that, kind of that Texas heat, so to say, but also being smart and knowledgeable about keeping everyone safe?
Yeah, there's rules and regulations about what we can practice in. The reality is we're going to play in hot games really early, so it's probably good for us to get that experience.
You see the battle on the interior of the offensive line, the two guard spots, when you have that many veteran guys, had a lot of experience, a lot of reps. Just how's that kind of sorting itself out now?
Yeah, just that. I think I got to go watch this film and see how it looked. You know, it's hard to you can't just watch the guards all scrimmage. So I have to go back and watch and see how it looked today. Today was a really good example of what it's going to look like in the future. You know, if you want to do it on Saturdays, you got to do it in practice. So we'll see what it looks like and then evaluate it from there.
This is the first scrimmage setting you'd seen for some of these true freshmen who enrolled over the summer. We're not getting generalities, I guess, but how did you feel those players operated out there?
Good and bad. You know, it is generalities, but that's really what it was. You had some positive and some negative, you know, so there's room to improve.
Popo and Keon able to give it a go today? Or?
Popo was out there a little bit. Keon was not.
What about Justice?
Justice was not.
It's always recruiting next couple of days. You expecting some positive news the next couple of days recruiting-wise? Or?
We'll see.
How much of today was working on red zone stuff?
How much was red zone?
Yeah.
Each group had a series in the red zone. The green group, one of our groups actually ended up having 2 series in the red zone.
Are there any individuals that you can maybe share that had a good day, or is that something?
I don't know if there was anybody that absolutely stuck out one side of the ball or the other. You know, if there was somebody that just absolutely tore it up, I would tell you, but I don't think there was any of that.
Today, just what do you think about the physicality, just overall from your team?
It needs to be better at times. I thought we, again, started slow, right? We operated like we were going to be in thud mode today, and then those guys didn't go down. We got to tackle, right? And the only way you get good at it is practicing it. So now it came on, and some physicality showed up throughout practice, but we have to continue to take that to another level.
But you and Basa both wanted more knockbacks in that way. You're saying that's something that came a little bit later on in the process then?
There were some. Yeah, there were some.
Is that a bit of a product of just the ball carriers playing really well today?
Yeah, and then this is the first time we've gone tackle to the ground. It's more of a product of that. Like, it takes a little bit more to get a man down with force than just a thud.
How much progress do you think has been made for you guys in determining a depth chart? Not saying you're going to share anything with us, but, for scrimmage, how much progress do you think you guys made of that?
Probably no better once I watch the film.
What are you looking to improve upon now that you have some results from this scrimmage?
I have to watch the film probably before I can tell you what I need to improve on. So we got to take care of the ball better, right? That's an easy one coming away. We got to tackle better. It's an easy one for defense. Got to communicate and just operate more efficiently. But beyond that, I need to go watch the film to be able to tell you what you guys want to hear.
How do you feel the coaching staff-wise, particularly like new guys like Will and Chris, and I don't know if anybody was up in the box or everyone was down the sideline today, but like how that part of the process?
Yeah, that dynamic was good. I mean, we've done it this spring as well, so it's not brand new.
Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, meeting with the media after practice following the scrimmage on Saturday. Film review did continue, I'm sure, throughout the weekend. And Coach, along with other coaches, will be meeting with the media this week. In fact, today, Demetrius Martin and a few student-athletes are talking after practice. It's an afternoon practice day here on Monday if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Dan Lanning brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. A guy who I think is going to be a big leader, both in terms of the intangibles in the leadership, but also a leader on the field statistically, is Brandon Dorlus, and the Maxwell Football Club agrees. Oregon defensive end Brandon Dorlus, one of 85 players on the preseason watch list for the Chuck Bednarik Award. That was announced today. In its 29th year, the Bednarik Award is presented annually to the outstanding defensive player in college football. Second preseason watch list for Dorlus, also on the Nagurski Trophy list earlier this month, also given to the best defensive player in the nation. Semifinalists will be announced on November 13th, and if Brandon Dorlus is one of those semifinalists, probably means Ducks are having a pretty doggone good year. Similar, like all these watch lists that we tell you about this time of year, it's an expectations thing, right? Now it can add pressure. You hear coaches, student athletes talk about this all the time, that pressure is a privilege, right? Well, this is that sort of pressure that you want. You want a bunch of guys showing up on these watch lists. That's a good thing for Oregon. I think that's a good thing for the Ducks. Brandon Dorlus on the Maxwell Award watch list, on the Chuck Bednarik Award watch list presented by the Maxwell Football Club. Now, when we return, Carlos Locklyn, let's zero in on that running back group. They've got some depth. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. You heard just a little bit ago about that first scrimmage, Coach Lanning meeting with the media coming off the practice field. Continuing, this actually interview with Carlos Locklyn, the Oregon running backs coach, happened before the scrimmage. So he did talk a little bit about what he wanted to see. Now we'll find out later if he did in fact see some of those things. But he talked a little bit too about the depth of his group. And you know, I think Bucky Irving, Noah Whittington, they're showing up on these preseason watch lists. The expectations are high for guys like that. But then some young guys that have, I think, grown a lot in the offseason. And you think about even a guy like Jordan James was in those short yardage situation packages last year. That was a big role for a freshman. Carlos Locklyn, always fun to listen to, the Oregon running back coach.
What are you looking for specifically from your guys over the next couple of weeks to, when you have three guys back who are already here, kind of know your deal, know your expectations? What are you hoping for them to improve on specifically the next few weeks?
Just look for them to fine tune everything. The most important thing I want to see is being disciplined in all aspects of the game. A lot of times the coaches, we just think about on the field. I'm thinking about off the field too. How they living off the field, how they take care of their bodies. But for us on the field, on the football, knowing their assignments. You mentioned those three guys in particular, Bucky, Noah, and Jordan James. I look for all three of them just take another step in being able to help the offense.
Dante have to be limited at all for last week just because of the accident, or he been full go and everything?
Nah, he been good to go. Him and Jaden both doing a good job, so he been good to go.
I was going to ask, just how have you seen Dante and Jaden progress since spring? I think people are pretty impressed with what they look like then, but how they look now?
I mean, they're doing good. Look, in that room there, I don't coach in a microwave way. I'm old school. It's gonna be a hot oven in there, and we let things cook in there the right way, and they'll be ready when their time comes. They're learning from those guys, but it's ain't gonna be a microwave process.
What do you want to see from them specifically tomorrow in the scrimmage?
I just want to see all of them. Most important thing on the football. No balls on the ground, no MAs. I want to see all of them come out healthy. And I want to see all of them having an impact on special teams. I told my guys before, you want to play in the NFL, there's a couple things you got to be able to do now. You got to be a multifaceted back, and you got to be able to play catching the ball, running the ball. You got to be able to play special teams. If you can't do that, you only dream about playing in the NFL. A lot of people saying they devaluing the running back position, or they're trying to be without the position. It's like R&B position, like music. You really can't have music without what? R&B. So this game gonna continue with the running back being a valuable asset. So I just tell my guys, you're gonna play special teams. You're gonna be able to catch the ball. We're gonna make ourselves as valuable as we can to this team.
Are there specific positions, special teams wise, that running backs just naturally fit, or is it different by case basis for your guys?
My thing, you got to make an impact on the team somewhere. You got one ball, all right, and then in that room there, we got three talented guys in that room. Just being realistic. You're a young guy coming in, you learning. You need to make an impact on special teams. You want to see a young man's true sacrifice. You'll see it through special teams, and you just learn the game from there. You got to put the team first. Can't always be about you.
Where do they play then special teams?
Whether it be kick return, maybe running down on kickoff, punt pressure, punt return. Wherever we can put them out there. But I think now, being a running back, you got to be a football player. And if you're not running the ball, you can go on special teams and have an impact.
We saw Bucky at the end of the last season do some of that kickoff return stuff. Fans are fans, so they're worried about Troy or Bucky in those spots because they're so valuable. They don't want to see them get hurt. Philosophically, as a coach, why are you not only okay with it, but you're totally comfortable with Bucky doing it? Because hey, like you say, someone's got to do it, and you want a valuable guy. If you have a guy who can do it, someone has to.
I mean, I think we got a couple guys back there that can return kicks this year, but I mean, yeah, Bucky is a value asset, but Noah Witherspoon, Jordan Jane ain't no slouch. It's not very much to separate those three guys. I don't listen to fans. I listen to my head coach, and I listen to what Carlos Locklyn has to think about when it comes to his back. So, he's a football player, play football.
Jordan last year was primarily short yardage, goal line. Is he ready to take a bigger role in year 2 for him?
That was a big role last year for a freshman for us to give him the ball 4th and 1. So I don't know how much bigger it's going to get. When his number called, he go in and play. Those guys I have in the room, we play as one. I tell them, man, the minute you start reading your newspaper clippings, you finna fall hard. So he had a big role last year, so ain't nothing changed for him. His number call, go and do your job and be good to go. So, I mean.
How have you seen him grow, though? Just like, where has his game improved since last year?
The biggest thing is in the weight room. I think he had a great guy to follow in the weight room. He works out with Noah Witherspoon. I think Noah Witherspoon's gone from like 190 pounds to like 205, 207. And then Jordan last year was at 213. Now he's around, right under 205, lean. He looks good. So I'm seeing his growth in the weight room. He's understanding this is not high school where I get the ball and I can just run over everybody. He's understanding run concepts, where he fit in, run concepts, what his reads are. He's growing as a football player. He's learning to become a running back. So I say knowledge of the game has grown. And like I said, that's on me too. That's my job, is to get these guys thinking the game mentally.
Dan talks about different messaging, talking about like good to great being a big part of the team motto and ethos this year. Do you, as a member of the staff, do you look into not just like his messaging, because you follow what he's preaching there, but I'm talking about like where it comes from? Do you buy the books? Do you read every which thing that he's selling, or is it just follow coach's prerogative of his what his messaging is, what his version is?
I mean, I listen to his message. Coach Hal said some good things, but I read a really good book every day. So I read the book. I read the book. So what I pour in my guys in my room, I read the greatest book ever written every day. So I kind of pour that book into my guys. But Coach has some great messages on some things that he say. So I listen and I apply it to the guys in the room.
Bucky's obviously garnering a lot of attention going into this season. Obviously, what do you feel like is that next step for him? What is the next thing that you kind of want to get him to get under his belt going into this year?
Biggest thing is keep playing football. Block out the outside noise. I don't think no guy in there get complacent. Like I said, Bucky's a really good football player, but we have a lot of really good football players in there. Noah Witherspoon, Jordan James, they're really good backs. So his next step is just continue to play hard like he's been playing, and trust me, nobody in that room gonna get complacent. I won't allow it.
With that conversation going on about running backs in the league, what are you telling your guys about, making it to the next level? Is it that play special teams, be willing to open and play in other positions, or what does that conversation look like right now?
This is a conversation that happened all in my room, very open and transparent with my guys. We talk about playing special teams, talk about making knowledge your greatest talent. Making yourself valuable, knowing pass pro, knowing what pressure, being just as smart as a quarterback, making yourself a valuable asset. I'm very, very sensitive about the position because I played it. It's a position I grew up playing. I absolutely love the position. Historian of the position, the guys who played it. And I often say the running back position is the worst coach position in football. It really is. It's the worst coach position in football. I've been saying it, I'm going to keep saying it. It's the worst coach position. It's the worst coach position because, like I said, they talk about the running back position not being valued. It's some great teachers out here that coach the position, also some guys that they're recruiters of the position. Get the talent, give them the ball and go. I never be a recruiter of the position. I evaluate and I'm a developer. I'm going to develop the position, but it's the worst coach position in football. It really is. But I love the position, try to pour into these guys, get them thinking like quarterbacks, just playing the running back position. And like I tell people all the time, your running backs are going to take on the mentality of the guy that coaching them. I'm a dog. My guys play like that. They're disciplined, they're going to play hard, and they know I do not play. We're going to be a physical bunch. Simple as that.
Real dog.
When you have the depth of talent that you have, and now the receiver room also has some pretty explosive weapons as well, what does that offer by way of just for scheme options that maybe weren't there as much last year for more 20 or 21 or 22 that, again, just maybe didn't have there either because proven depth at your position or more explosive weapons at receiver that just weren't necessarily around last year?
Man, number one, I work for a real smart head coach. Coach Lanning, a very smart dude. Not just defensive minded, but offensive minded as well. This offense that he developed here is for playmakers. And I was at a place in Memphis, Tennessee where there's pretty good players, and we knew how to give them the ball. We got some guys in that running back room that they can line up, particularly Buck and Noah can line up anywhere. Coach Lanning gonna make sure they get the ball. Coach Stein gonna make sure they get the ball, and I'm confident whatever they ask my guys to do, we're gonna be ready to go. Whether that's running, whether it's blocking, whether it's playing special team, it's an unselfish bunch in there, and I demand that of them. But wherever Coach Lanning tell those guys to go, whatever we can help the team, that's what we're gonna do.
Hey, that's a team-oriented guy right there. Carlos Locklyn, Oregon running back coach. A lot of good information about where his position group sits. I think a lot of depth there. You need depth. You know, I think that the idea now in college football of like the one running back fits for every play idea, just like in the NFL, I think it's changing. You know, you need one versatility. He's talking about having his guys play special teams to be able to play at the next level. I love that. I think you talk about that versatility, and then you talk about the ability to have guys in a high-impact position. The ability to have multiple guys that can play, huge deal. When we come back, switching gears to the wide receiver room, Troy Franklin, he met with the media. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider today is presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Over 522,000 members, proud supporters of University of Oregon Athletics, OnPoint Community Credit Union. Next up, Troy Franklin, Oregon wide receiver. He talked with the media about a number of different topics. We had him in the studio here a few weeks ago for Media Day. I think he's poised to have a big-time season. I mean, you talk about a guy that just seemed to have that connection. You know, the stats tell you it's easy sometimes to tell when a wide receiver just gels with a quarterback. But then hearing him talk about that connection with Bo Nix, it sounds like they've even taken that connection a step further. And if I'm the rest of the Pac-12, I'm kind of sitting here like, Troy Franklin talking with the media this week.
Not too hot yet? Not too hot yet?
Oh, man, I'm out there sweating a lot, man. Hell yeah, it's pretty hot.
The 107 or something next week that I think is on the
Man,
way.
yeah, I heard about that. I'm trying to prepare my mind right now. You know, I'm starting early, so yes, sir.
Do you think that's, practicing in the heat of the day is probably, obviously you have the early trip to Texas, all that kind of stuff. Do you think that in a way that's kind of helpful for you guys?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Because if we were practicing probably in the morning, when we got out there, it would be probably, we'll be exhausted, cramping up and all that stuff. So it's kind of good that we're practicing right now in the afternoon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you think it's kind of gone so far, a little more than a week for you guys now?
I think it's been going pretty good. Competition is very high, intensity is high. Obviously we got stuff to work on, little things like that, but it's just a little different, like a vibe, different vibe. So it's definitely different energy.
What's it like having a year under your belt with Bo? What's that chemistry like compared to this time last year?
I think it's pretty cool. I think we're just more on target with things, I would say. And we just obviously trust each other and we know where each other's going to be. Or, I know where he's going to put it, he knows where I'm going to be. So, yeah.
Are you helping the new guys out? That obviously you had to do it last year. You had to get right with Bo.
Yeah.
A lot of guys have to do kind of the same thing in a short amount of time. Are you kind of giving them tips for how to do that?
Yeah, most definitely. All the young guys that came in, Jurion, he's from my city, so, I definitely help him out. Justice, Darian Anderson, Preston, all my guys, So if anybody that asks and need helps, I help him. So yeah.
What about a guy like Gary who's new but
of course,
a little
Gary,
more experience under his belt?
Exactly. He has some experience under his belt, but he's new to this program, so obviously he's gonna need to learn a little stuff. But he's catching on fast. He probably has questions every now and then, but he knows it for the most part, for sure. Yeah.
Packed on some weight. Just how has that helped you so far in fall camp?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think it just helps me with my play strength. Running through good defenders, things like that. When I'm trying to clear my release. And just, breaking tackles, things like that I want to get better at, run after the catch, things like that. So, yeah.
I was talking to Coach Stein recently just about his comfort level. Spring for him was very much about just kind of getting comfortable, figuring out, the new surroundings. But now, we see him out there celebrating big plays and stuff. He seems like he's showing more personality.
Exactly,
what do you see from Coach Stein, now that he's in his second big camp with you guys?
I just see that, he knows that, he's here now, So he kind of has to, he got to step up, be more vocal, things like that. It's his offense, so he's doing it's his offense. Yeah, he's running it. Yeah.
Is there anyone that's kind of stood out so far, other than yourself, in that wide receiver room?
Yeah, Gary Bryant, Trayshawn, Kyler and Justice Lowe, those guys are making plays. Preston, and definitely Darian Anderson. Darian Anderson's one guy that's been making a lot of plays. And it's been really good for us, for sure.
He gets mentioned pretty consistently. What are you guys so impressed with that he does?
Man, just the plays he makes. How quick he is. He's a walk-on, so for him to make those plays and stuff like that is just crazy. We like that a lot.
Yeah, to hear a walk-on's name mentioned this consistently, it jumps out. But he's earned it, and the respect from you guys.
He's earned our respect. Everybody on the team. Yeah.
What do you see from Jurion so far?
Jurion, man, he's a good playmaker. He just got here, practice A for him, so he's been making his plays and all that. He's still learning the offense and things like that, doing a way better job. And yeah, oh yeah.
Did you hear about why he chose 99? Did he tell you?
I guess because he couldn't get 13.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's just him though,
Yeah.
That's just him literally. So.
Would you ever wear a number like that?
I don't think so. Nah, I can't do that.
What have you made from Will Stein's offense now in the fall camp? Just how are you guys understanding it, and how are you guys repping it better?
I think we really understand what we want to do and what he wants to do. Definitely we fix our mistakes right like that. But yeah, we're definitely we know our identity for sure. We know what we want to do.
What do you see from the cornerbacks? Just Kyrie and Nico are new guys?
Mm-hmm. Corners, I feel like they're a strong side this year for us. We've got some confidence in them. Those guys are confident. They're ready to play and cover. So, yeah, I think they're a good group.
Bo was talking about Kyrie the other day. Said he's a guy who just never stops talking.
Yeah, for sure.
What kind of energy does that bring?
It brings a lot of energy. Me and him, we were talking the other day, 2 days ago. Just multiple days, and it's competition. At the end of the day, we're on the field, amped up. So we're just making each other better at the end of the day, for sure. Yeah.
How much is there back and forth kind of talking? Are you someone that kind of likes to reciprocate it? If
I mean, sometimes maybe I don't really like, I don't make it like my first, a thing to do, but maybe if I make a play or something, I'll say a little something like that, but I don't try to really talk to guys or anything like that. But yeah.
Is there someone in the room, maybe in the wide receiver room, that is kind of a talker? DBs always love to talk, so.
Man, yeah, nah. I think somebody who's definitely going to not let you just say something to him is Trayshawn. He's going to get on you for sure. So, yeah, that's my guy. He's going to get on you for sure, yeah.
Troy Franklin figures to have a big season this year. That's maybe the most obvious thing that I've said on this show. I mean, just hearing that talk about the development between him and Bo Nix, a quarterback, a wide receiver, that's a big deal, big part of the connection. When we come back, switching gears, talking with the coach of the team that kicked off the season. That's right. Ducks were in action this weekend, Graeme Abel's Oregon soccer team, and we're with the head coach next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Don't miss out on summer at Toyota's National Sales Event. It's the perfect time to squeeze out the last of summer with an exciting new Tacoma, Highlander, Camry, and more.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends September 5th.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The season's underway. The first exhibition, a friendly against Idaho for Oregon soccer over the weekend. Coach Abel is here. Graeme Abel joining us every Monday. And, you said, I don't know, doesn't count on the record. Does it really kick off the season? I say it kicks off the season.
That's because you've gone a whole summer without anything.
That's right. Yeah. Well, so did you.
Yeah.
What went on your win-loss record over the summer? I guess you went 1-0 building your fence.
I did go 1-0. It's still standing.
Still standing. That's
still
what I'm
got a
saying.
winning record.
Yeah, you're 1-0 building your fence. I don't know. I always say that so over the weekend it was an inter-squad scrimmage for Oregon volleyball as well. That was on Saturday. Green versus yellow season ticket exclusive event. That kicked it off for volleyball. Fan Fest on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I say you started the season.
Okay, we started the season, and there you go.
You all do start the season, though, every year, actually.
We do, yeah.
It comes quick.
Officially on Thursday, so.
Yeah, it comes quick, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, what is it, the first, and then you're playing, 16 days later or something? So, yeah, it rolls around real quick.
Is there still conversation with that in mind about having a longer preseason in soccer? I know it's been kind of on the, front burner even the last few years in discussions.
Yeah, I think legislation gets thrown out there and then it gets kicked down the road and stuff like that gets tabled. So, yeah, I mean, it'd be great to think from an overall safety standpoint to be able to give our athletes a longer runway into the season would be ideal. To go from from 0 to 100 in 16, 17 days is tough. But we've been doing it for a while now, so.
And that makes the offseason all that more important, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about that a few times, that is a huge deal for your sport.
It is. I mean, we're fortunate here, like I think I've said before, with the quarter system that we end later, so there isn't as big of a gap.
Right.
Remember when I was at semester schools and you're done in the first week of May, and then you've got a massive gap until your preseason. You've got 3 months, so that's tough. You have to get the kids in summer leagues and stuff like that. And then the summer leagues, they're not under your kind of medical watch and stuff like that. And so they get the same type of medical care and those things, so it can get complicated. So it's a big advantage of being at a quarter school, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. So taking on Idaho over the weekend, you had some goals, I'm sure, as a staff going into it. What did you see? Break it down for us.
No, we do. I thought we defended really well in terms of what we wanted to see, in terms of how we were going to set that piece up. We've been going against ourselves constantly, and it's like when you're expecting something to happen and you're playing against that, it's hard to replicate, and you never truly get broken. And so we saw some good things in that we got truly broken, I think, once in terms of our shape and stuff, and so that was good. Got some good coaching points out of that piece. We got everybody through. One player didn't play. She's had a little of a knock, but we got everybody through the game healthy. We had the 3 long-term injuries. We got them through. We got, they were on limited minutes, but we got them through the minutes that we had planned. And then on the backside of that, the next day, there was no kind of, lingering pieces that came from that. Great. So, and then we started to break down the tape and look at the different pieces. Tons of coaching points out of it, tons of learning moments, which was great. So we came out of it feeling really good.
So what's your post one like this? It's the first one.
Yep.
What's you and your coach's strategy on film breakdown? Were you back in the office Friday afternoon after the afternoon exhibition and you're breaking it down?
I go home and watch the games. I guess I kind of got used to 5 years when I was with the national team that I would just disappear to my hotel room and
have your own space.
Have my own space to kind of just process and things like that. And so we'll go through each of our individual. Rachel looks at a lot of the final third defensively. Sean looks at a lot of the set pieces and the goalkeeping. I'll look at kind of the bigger piece and the attacking side of the game. And so we'll look at those individual moments. Then we'll come together the next day. And we'll go over through clips, talk about pieces, talk about, where do we need to go from here, grab individual clips for different people, individuals, and so it's kind of a collective.
How much has it changed now, too, that you can even, share those things with each individual players with video? I mean, how has that changed how you coach?
Well, it makes it a lot more interactive from the standpoint of, you can send those clips out. They can ask a question about the clips. You get a notification. You can answer it back. You can put drawings on it. They can put drawings on it. They can come sit in the office with us and do it. We have all kinds of fancy gadgets now. You can, the telestrations that you used to see on, on the major networks. We can do that now. And so it's kind of fun. I enjoy doing it. It was a piece that I'd done in prior jobs, and I've continued to do it just because I enjoy doing that piece of it.
I feel like there's got to be a lot of power, especially after the first time that any team goes against someone else. There's a lot of power in sitting down as a team. I know looking at it, but do you find that student athletes now are a lot more prepared for those group film sessions because of what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's how you set them up on it. I think it's whenever we do film, we never talk about if a so-called negative moment happens within a game, the way we present it, it's down to one individual. There's probably 5 to 6, 7, 8 things that came prior to it that it wouldn't have got to that moment. And so you set it up that way, and then obviously never pointing out individuals, talking more about, this position and this position and this position and this position. So it's a learning moment for everybody. It's not just the individual where, I think, you hear those stories about the individuals sat in the room going, I'm waiting for my clip to come up here. It's about to come. And, but no, you do it as an overall group and take it as a teaching moment and a learning moment for everybody.
He's Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Baylor is in town on Thursday. That's the first counting game, the win-loss record, right? I mean, that's...
Here we go.
Yeah, so the season's kicking off. Whether it's last Friday or this Thursday, Oregon soccer always starts out the season. Okay, I'm curious, roster focus. This is a coach's favorite question when I'm about to ask. Coach, injuries. You said everybody got through healthy, which is great.
Yep.
But I did want to go back in time and ask you about your 3 that were coming off long-term injuries.
Yeah.
How rewarding is that for, 1, the student athletes that are coming back from that, and 2, as an entire team, an operation, a staff, like, just how nice is it to see those athletes back out there again?
Giving all credit to, number 1, the student athletes, and then number 2, the medical side and the sports science side, and how they handled that piece, because they've brought them back, and they've brought them back safely, and I think it's been nearly a year for all of them, which I think is the smart thing to do in terms of giving them we don't have to. There's nothing at stake in the spring, so we don't need to be silly there, and so we got them back healthy. But it was just fun to see those 3 run on the field and have smiles on their faces, because Callan, huge personality, and Livy plays with so much joy, and Kristen's such a good player and such a good person. So it was so good to see all 3 of them back on the field with a big smile on their face.
Yeah, I'm amazed at student athletes that do come back from those big long-term injuries. It's not just the physical, but the mental toll I'd imagine it takes on them.
Well, it is, because it's not only within your team, in an athletic department like this, where you've got everybody else is competing and you're not. You know what I mean? You're on the sideline, and so it's so I think it's the job of us as coaches, support staff, teammates as well, to keep everybody involved, and that their value just isn't on the between the white lines. They've got their overall value as a student athlete and as a person. All
right, so what's the focus the next few days as you get ready for a home matchup with a big time program in Baylor on Thursday?
It's just continuing to evolve. I mean, we've kind of got some of our basic things in place now, and it's making sure week by week we just continue to evolve as a team. And we told the team at the very start of the season, our job by the end of the season is to make sure we've gotten every ounce of potential in this team, kind of it's come to fruition. So we're just going to continue working on the things that we work on, and we want to imprint ourselves upon the opposition, and so we'll continue to do what we do and sharpen those tools.
Thursday, 5 o'clock. It's on Pac-12 Network. The KWVA crew and the student radio station will have the call as well. 5 o'clock on Thursday. Come out to Pat Bay Field. What do you know about Baylor? What should fans expect?
A good team. I mean, the new head coach, I think she's been there, just over a year now. They'll be, probably a little less direct than what they've been in the past, and look to play a little bit more. But to be completely honest, it's about us, and what we do, and it's we want to be the very best version of us, and like I said, imprint ourselves upon the opposition.
How long does competition continue for you and the staff? I mean, do you want to settle on an 11 by a certain time before a season starts and then adapt as you go? I don't know. How do you handle that as a staff?
No, it's this is the first season when we were just talking about in the office then. We're looking at lineups now, and we got competition in every position. And we've now gotten to that depth. I mean, we're in year 4 now. We've now gotten to that depth within the roster where we've got, players that can, if someone is off form, we can put someone else in. If 25 minutes into a game, someone's tired, we can put someone else in. There's competition week to week, so it's only going to sharpen us as a group, and it's gonna do well for us through the season.
He's Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Baylor coming up in town. What do you want to see? What are the keys to success for your team on Thursday to start the season?
Defend well, number 1. You know what I mean? Let's try and get the ball back as quick as possible. It's not about defending; it's about winning the ball back. And then once we get the ball, let's value the ball. If we're going to go in transition, let's hurt them quickly in transition. If not, let's make sure we keep possession from there. And set chances up on our terms, and then make sure we're good in the 18-yard box and score some goals.
He's Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach. Thursday, 5 o'clock, Baylor, Pat Bay Field. Get your tickets. Come on out, Coach.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck with practice the rest of the week.
Thank you.
And here's to a successful Thursday.
Very much so.
All right. When we come back, switching gears back to the other football, Kamari Terrell talking about his offseason. I think you'll want to hear what he had to say. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Graeme Abel, great stuff from Oregon Soccer's head coach. They, in a friendly this weekend, now it counts on Thursday against Baylor at 5 o'clock at Pape Field. Thursday, 5 o'clock, Pape Field, Duck Soccer starts the season. Kamari Terrell met with the media on Friday discussing some of his development in the defensive backfield. He's been playing the star position a lot and is trying to get that starting job. Competition, though, as you can imagine, fierce at that spot. It's a versatile position, and he's actually a little different than what you've traditionally seen in that position around the country, and even just last season here at Oregon. Great stuff with Kamari Terrell, Duck defensive back.
A lot of guys say they felt more comfortable in the defense this year compared to learning it last year. How would you describe kind of the evolution for you of getting comfortable in this system?
Last year, it took me a while to learn the defense. So as I'm learning the plays, I tried to make myself a big impact on special teams. So this year, that I tried to take over the star spot. Yes, sir.
In what capacity? What spot specifically?
Defense, star position.
That's still primarily where you're working at?
Yes, sir.
Some of the other guys at star are shorter, kind of stockier guys. You're tall and long. How does that help you with that position?
It plays a big factor. Me using my arms and playing catch technique on all the receivers and not too much backpedaling. So I like to be man defense, really.
You feel pretty comfortable at this point because you worked there quite a bit last year. You've kind of getting comfortable in that spot.
Yes, sir. I did a little bit of it last year, but I wasn't like. I didn't know the plays as much, so last year I tried to learn the plays, and this year I can just execute fast and just play fast.
What makes it, to Rob's point, there seems like there's a prototype of player that usually plays that kind of role. What makes you a good fit at that?
Just being fast, being long, just being me, having that confidence that I can win every one-on-one rep.
Who else is working there at Star with you?
I got my boy Tyshim Johnson, Nico, and Jalil Florence.
Sheem did a lot at Ole Miss, and he was obviously a box safety type. By way of what is different in his skill set from yours, and that again he was kind of a downhill, almost box extra.
Yeah, he's a little shorter, but he plays with a lot of confidence, strong. He likes to hit a lot, So and also I think him being at Ole Miss, he already has that experience, so he already knows how college is and how defense is.
What would you say the biggest challenges of playing that position?
Just whenever you get tired, just know when to line up. Just do your job. Coach Meat always says technique will set you free, even though when you're tired. So really, just line up pretty.
How do you feel with the physical elements of the position? I mean, you talk about, it sounds like in coverage you like going one-on-one, but what about the physical elements of playing star?
We're not really as much like manning, but we're like couple calls, but we're more like a zone. So it's not like you get a break here and there, but I like the man defense though.
But coming up, helping against the run, how do you feel in that element of the game?
Man, I wish we got more action. Yeah, but I for sure like to tackle though. So if we got more action, I would like that.
How do you approach when you have to match up, particularly with like a tight end in that capacity? Tight end in the slot broken off from the line in particular into the boundary. It's just it's a bigger guy, and I mean,
right.
Position.
So usually I'll use a matchup with speed, but if they're in a different personnel, then I line up on the tight end, and then I'm pretty much playing a catch technique, not too much backpedaling. So letting the tight end run up to me, and I put my hands on and just man on from there.
What's the mentality of the secondary going into this year? It seemed like last year, obviously, there was so much talk about Christian Gonzalez that I feel like everyone else in the group is kind of slept on. What's the mentality this year?
Man, after seeing that, it opened my eyes a lot because really, I seen it happen. Like, I mean, when I got here, I met Christian, and I seen what it takes to go. So I just have that confidence. Me being a young guy, I got to step up to be a leader.
What are some of those special teams roles you're looking at? We saw you on gunner last year.
Yes, sir. Gunner. I'm a punter. Gunner. I'm on PBR, special KOC and KR. Yes, sir.
Coach talks about for this season, particularly coming back good to great. It's a lot of sayings from there. As a player, like, what are some of the highlights that you take from some of the things he's been talking about, particularly this camp? And do you know like where some of the origins of these things come from? You're just taking it in from coach and
but to me, we're just doing the extra, really. Just getting treatment, getting extra treatment, getting extra meeting time whenever you can to be ahead, really. So every day, just doing something different, getting 1% better every day.
Rob and I were talking about this on the Quack Minute, Mosley and I, that he has so much length, Kamari Terrell does. I feel like he can really give versatility in Oregon's defensive backfield. That length can be a real asset for him. Man, it's amazing when we get to a Monday and you have practice Friday afternoon, a scrimmage on Saturday, Coach Abel's Duck soccer team over the weekend. Fan Fest, by the way, over the weekend. Thanks, everybody, for coming out to Fan Fest, the green and yellow Oregon volleyball scrimmage. Like, it's here now. You know, we're rolling. Speaking of that, your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. The week ahead, it begins with Oregon women's soccer. Pac-12 Network has the broadcast. So does KWVA. 5 o'clock on Thursday, Oregon soccer against Baylor. And then also this weekend, Oregon volleyball will be in action. Duck volleyball not just for season ticket holders. An exhibition on Saturday at 6 p.m. against Portland State. They're going to treat this like a real thing because fans, they're going to be on the road for a while. Pac-12 Big Ten Challenge, San Diego Invitational. They're going to Hawaii. They're going to be in Milwaukee. They won't be back home until Saturday, September 22nd, if you can believe that. Friday, September 22nd. I'm way ahead of myself. That's your Cafe M 2-minute drill. We'll see you tomorrow after practice.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the